All right. So today I'm super excited to be able to talk about positive grid bias desktop. This amp simulator is the absolute best I have ever heard, and that is no lie. Now, first up front, I just want to say that this video is not a demo of the sounds that you can achieve with bias desktop. Instead, this is just sort of a quick overview of the interface and telling you what you can do with it. You will hear some sounds, but they are recorded through the camera microphone that I'm using right now. These are not direct tones, but for right now, let's just learn about what bias desktop can do. So the first thing you need to know is that bias desktop is not just a simple amp simulator where they have already went through and modeled just certain amps. Instead, Positive Grid took the time to actually model components, and that will let you configure almost any sort of amp tone possible. So let's go ahead and start here at the custom panel. So here at the custom panel, we can see the amp name. Of course, we have our usual controls, gain, bass, treble, things like that. But a great feature that Bias Desktop offers is you can customize everything in here. Look at this. I can add a background picture, which I have in this case. You can change the tolex, the grill cloth, the panel, the knobs. Look at that. Choose anything you want that's available here. Customize your amp to look exactly how you want. Now let's actually dig into the sounds. So first we'll go to the preamp block here and look at all of these options that we have. So for example, this is the tone we have now. Awesome tone, but we can change this up. So here in the pre section, before we really hit these amps here, the tubes, we can do things like cut out the lows, maybe boost the highs. So if I boost the highs there, maybe boost the mid way up. Maybe I want to just bypass that. I can do that too. Amazing. So then we have, of course, a bright switch, the gain knob, which you'll see if I pull this gain knob all the way down. And that's also reflected here on our custom panel. All right. And then we have our tube stages that we can choose. So here's just two tube stages. Awesome. We can change the amount of distortion, more or less, low cut frequencies, same for the high frequencies. And then of course we have the bias adjustment, so we can have colder tubes or hotter tubes, whatever you prefer. You can really hear the saturation in that with those tubes really hot. Furthermore, we were even able to change the tubes. I can simply click on these tubes and you can see they're changing the models. I could click down here and just choose from a list if I wanted to. All right, and they all sound different. Then I could change this cathode follower tube. So you can get any sound you want, from raging high gain metal, which is personally what I prefer, to really clean, glassy, or bluesy tones. Just anything you want. On this preamp section, we have our post here, so we can adjust our low end on the post after we've run through the tubes. Same thing for the mids, the high shelf, and of course we have our bypass buttons. Then you'll notice we have EQ blocks, and we can freely move these around pretty much wherever you want. We have two of them. You can put them in the chain, take it right out of the chain. Plus with these EQs, we have mix knobs and a level knob. So with the shape I have right now, maybe I don't want so much of that in the mix. Maybe I just want around, say, 30% or so. So you're free to shape your sound exactly how you want. Now let's move on to the tone stack. Right now we have American 51, 53, and we can change the tone stack. So we're really building a custom amp. Any amp we want, one that exists or one that doesn't exist, or maybe only exists in your mind. Let's change it to a German Fireball tone stack. What about American tread plate style? And of course, with all of these tone stacks, when you change them, you might want to go back to your preamp and your other options here and tweak things. If you're experimenting. British style here. Well, I really like that one. Let me also mention that you actually have presets that you can call up for a lot of these different items. So say our preamp. So we have presets here that we could quickly choose or even make our own and then save them. Same for the tone stack here. You see presets. Move on to the power amp. We can have presets for that as well. So here in the power amp, I mean, look at all of the options. Maybe we just want this to be single-ended. Or split load, push pull, which is probably what you'll use for a lot of your high gain stuff. Or we can even go solid state if you want. We have master knob. Again, distortion for our power stages here. Maybe we don't want much distortion. Have more preamp distortion that way. Or we can dial it up. You can make anything you want. Again, we have options for splitter, gain here. Let me turn it down a bit. Maybe I want to up the power gain part. And all of these nuances that you can really hear when you're actually playing it, it's just mind-boggling how they were actually able to capture this in software. Again, more bias controls, change our tubes to whatever we want. Then we have our presence controls and our resonant control here. Of course, we have modern and vintage switches, push or normal. So now here in the transformer section, again, we could do a preset if we had a preset in mind, and we can change things like the input. We can go from solid state to tube rectified. Again, we can change the rectifier tube. We can change the ratio, attack, release, and the compression amount, the output, and even the transformer. Again, I'm simply clicking right on the icon, right on the visual there, or we can choose from a pop-out list like this, and you'll get handy little information about what they sound like. So American style, they'll be a little less bottom end. Awesome. But I really like this fat style. British is sort of in the middle of these two. We'll go back to the fat style. Oh yeah, that bottom end is right there where I like it. And then let's move on to the cab section. Yes, we have cabs and tons of them to choose from. Look at all these cabs we can choose from. And let me tell you, these cabs sound amazing. So right now we have the 412 Highway. Let me just change this to a 212 Green 25. Cool, maybe a 212 Black Duo. Maybe we'd like a 4x12 V30, the orange version. This is probably my favorite cab here, but there's tons of options here. The tread plate 4x12. But the options do not stop there. Now we can move around our microphone anywhere within this cube here, any of these positions. I mean, look at it. I mean, I can even grab the mic, okay, and position this. Maybe I want to position it in the upper corner, and you can see here I have it pulled back. Closer to the cone there. Then I'll pull it down. Amazing. And again, I've already mentioned the EQ, but we can shape our EQ curve. And then an amazing feature is called amp match. So say you have a maybe a Mark II C+ or some kind of amp that you want to capture. You can capture that exact tone and use it right within your software and not have to haul around a heavy amp. It's really an amazing feature to have in any guitar amplifier simulation software. So first you'll set up a preset that sounds pretty close to your recorded tone, either what you recorded with your amp or wherever you happen to get the sound file from. So you'll need that first. Then you'll simply come to the amp match. You can just pull it right into the chain, and you'll sample your source, which will be the preset you set up. Then you'll go to your target and you'll run the target through the amp match, and then you'll come to the match section and you're able to turn on or off the amp match. So this is the preset I had set up. Amp match is off. And then after everything was sampled, my target was sampled, I turn on the amp match. Now I can't play you the original sound file I used because of copyright reasons, but I can tell you that the amp match is pretty much spot on of a actual recorded guitar tone. Furthermore, you have options to adjust the mix amount of your match tone, the level, bass, mid, and the highs. You can also do bass sounds. You'll see there's tons of presets already included with Bias Desktop. So here's a bunch of bass presets. I've even created a few of my own already, which if I could find them, like this one here, I don't have my bass on me right now, so I can't actually play them, but Again, they sound fantastic. Just like everything in this software package sounds fantastic. And one thing I haven't even mentioned yet is we have our sort of control section down here where we can adjust the input of our guitar or bass, a hum reduction that we turn on or off, a noise gate. We have our quick snap feature so you can quickly switch between a bunch of different presets, 8 different presets, just by clicking on 1 through 8 number. Pretty cool. And we have room control, which is really cool when you're just playing around and you want to sort of simulate a room. I usually like to pull this way down and not too much color and pull the mix down just to get sort of those room reverberations. So that pretty much covers everything in Bias Desktop. But another feature I haven't mentioned yet is the ability to, you can log in here and then you can go to the Tonecloud. You can actually download tones that other people have made. So it makes it real easy to get that exact sound you want. If you don't think you're able to create it yourself, then there's probably something pretty close that you can tweak right here in the Tonecloud. Furthermore, you can make your own presets and then simply upload them to Tonecloud and share them with other people. It's a great feature, and it's all built within this app, so we're not having to go to different websites and download presets from this person or that person, whatever. You can get it right from within the app, and I can actually preview this before I download it so I can see if I like it or not. So now I've pretty much just shown dirty sounds, heavy metal sounds, but you know what, Bias can do clean, glassy blues tones as well. So let's go to one of my favorite included presets, the 67 Dumble Clean. I absolutely love this preset. Switch my pickup. That just sounds amazing. So I know I've said it once, but I'm going to say it again and again. This is an absolute must-have guitar amp plugin or bass amp plugin if you're just into bass and not guitar. I mean, the tones you can get, the options you have to create anything you want. It's just crazy, man. I mean, listen to this. Hear how it decays? I mean, that is just like a tube amp, and it's just playing right through my computer, and it's not harsh. A lot of times amp simulators might be kind of harsh. It's not harsh at all. It sounds just like you put a mic right in front of a guitar amp and recorded the tone. And again, as I mentioned up front, this is not really a demo of the tones you can create because we're just recording this coming out of my monitors. But once you sit down with Bias Desktop and you start creating your rigs and actually recording with them and start double tracking, I gotta tell you, it sounds amazing. Once you start double tracking, you have a guitar track on the right, guitar track on the left. I mean, it just comes together so well. Pop your drums in there, and it sounds like just a beautiful mix, just real quick too. You can use this plugin and your amp tones will sound fantastic, like you have access to all of the great amps in the world, and you can have all of that with just this plugin, Bias Desktop. You've got to check it out at positivegrid.com. You've got to check it out. And I'll just mention real quick, you can see I'm in Pro Tools here. So this is AAX compatible. So for all you Pro Tools 11 users, like myself, we can use this today right within Pro Tools 11. So go check this out at positivegrid.com.